Hi everybody, welcome to today's video. My name is Ryan and I am the Laser Noob. So today has been a frustrating day. So I ordered some powder coat in the mail off of Amazon, red, black, white. I just wanted to try it. I've seen some people talk about it, so I wanted to see how hard it was. So the first thing I do is I grab a piece of basswood and I do a little engrave, and I do two colors, red and black, as you can see right there. And that was my first try. And I'm like, ha! Powder coat's easy. No. So normally I record the intro to the videos before I do the videos. This one I'm recording about 8 hours into a 2-layer powder coat burn of something similar to this, but a Christmas ornament. And it has been trouble after trouble after trouble after trouble. So my board started warping. It was perfectly flat when I started warping about halfway through. So I put some tile on it. The laser bumped the tile, messed up a little bit. So it's been a disastrous day up to this point. So I want to share with you guys that you're gonna get frustrated when you're working with a laser. It's gonna happen. I don't care. You watch YouTube videos and these guys are like, oh yeah, first try everything comes out perfect. Bullish. Nothing comes out perfect the first time unless you've already ran it. This is something that I'm trying for the very first time. So I did this one and I'm like, why waste, a piece of basswood? I'll just do a set of 12 at the same time, one piece of 300 millimeter by 300 millimeter basswood, and then that way I've just got 12. It'll take me 5-6 hours to burn, and no, that is not what happened. So I think the vast majority of the cursing off camera. There might be a slip here and there, so but if you can hear in the background, I'm actually still burning the second red powder coat layer on the 12. It's not coming out real great. So, but we're not going to quit. We are going to power through. We will do a 2-color Christmas ornament today. So when this 12 is done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back. I'm just going to do one. Now I'm going to make some adjustments to the depth of the red on this particular one. And we're just going to do one. I want a successful run today, but you guys, you get frustrated, walk away for a little bit, come back, think about it, calm down, and then try it again. You're gonna waste a bunch of material. You're gonna waste a bunch of time trying to learn how to do this stuff. Just don't let that stuff get you down. Come back, give it another try, and when you finally do get the success, man, it's worth it. It's worth all that cussing. Trust me. Okay, so doing powder coat, you're going to have to burn a layer. The laser's going to have to move out of the way. You're going to have to fill it in with your powder coat, and then the laser's going to have to go back exactly where it started in order to burn the layer of powder coat. And if you're doing more than one color, you're going to have to do this a couple of times. So we're going to get this thing set up for you so you can do that. And we're just going to go to the move console. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the laser on. And then we're going to go over here. I'm going to select my COM4. Now I have light burn set to go home every time it connects. So my laser is going to go home. Top left corner. So now what we're going to do is I want to start in the top left corner of this. This is not something I'm going to do center. So again, top left corner. So when you look over here, it says user origin right over here, and our dot is in top left. So what we want to do is we're going to take our, hit the move tab here, and we've got a distance of 20 millimeters. So every time it moves, that laser is going to move 20 millimeters. Okay. So we're going to move it until we're right on the top left. Come down using the arrows. All right, so that's a little far. We'll knock that down to, say, 2 millimeters. And that'll give us a little bit more accurate movement until we get right on that corner. And we're going to go up a little bit. So we're right on the corner. Now that is where our origin is going to be. So we want to set origin right there. Okay, so now our origin is set, but we need it to move out of the way once we've burnt each layer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move it back. You can leave it on 2 millimeters, which is fine. It's just going to take you several more clicks. Now, it's completely off of the surface of the basswood. It's out of the way, so when I go to spread my powder coat, I'm not trying to get underneath that or anything. Now that is going to be my set finish position. All right, so from there, go back to our cuts and layers. Now, when we go to do our burn, we're going to go to origin. And that brings us right exactly where we want to be. And then when we burn our first layer, it's going to move up and out of the way, and that's all set. So with that, let's go ahead and start working on what our artwork's going to be. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to let's go into our files. And all supported. So I'm going to make a Christmas ornament with this. So this is going to be 2 layers. So with the help of Photoshop, what I've done is I've taken this layer right here. Okay. And that's going to be a black layer. And then what I did is in Photoshop, I exported this as, let's see, what did I export that as? It's a PNG file. So you can see right here I've got these 2. Okay, so got this one. So what I did is, as I went into Lightburn, open this, or into Photoshop, open this in there, and then I exported it immediately out as a PNG. Okay, now with the same one, I went in and inverted it and then colored the white red, and then I exported that out as another file. So they're both exactly the same size. All it is inverted, and what you end up with is these 2 right here. Okay, the 1.1 and the 1.2. So now I'm going to delete that off the screen. I'm going to go to open, and actually from our Christmas ball ornament that we did in another video, basically I've taken that and just added the logo. So now get rid of the Christmas balls. Now you can see I have 2 layers here. This is the red layer, and that's the black layer. So, yep. So what we're going to do now is, so you can see the whole thing. Spacebar. Whoops. Control Z, undo. Space bar, get that into the center. So now this is the whole project. All we're going to do is we're going to burn the red and the black images. It doesn't matter in which order at this point, but we're going to save the line for last. So we're going to go up here to output, and I'm going to go ahead and do the original picture first, this one right here, and I'm going to get rid of the other stuff. I'm just going to, so it doesn't show. All right, so now we're going to take that, we're going to burn that, and then we're going to powder coat it, burn it again, then we'll burn the red layer, and then we'll powder coat that, burn that again, and then we can cut that out, and we'll have our whole Christmas ornament. And it should be fun. It's going to be kind of a long project. This is a long burn, so let's get started. First thing we're going to do is turn on our air assist for these layers. Assist on the burn layers, but when you do your powder coat, you need the air assist off. It will blow powder coat everywhere. Made that mistake. All right, so our first layer is burnt, so now we're going to apply our powder coat. This stuff is messy. Now, the powder coat goes a very long way. You really don't need a whole lot. So I'm going to start off with that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come back up to our speed and power, and we're going to, instead of 85% power right here on this image, we're going to change that to 20%, and we are going to hit OK. So the only changes we're making is our air assist is off right now, and we are at 20% power instead of 85%. So it doesn't take a ton of power to melt the powder coat. So with that, we're going to go back to origin and start. Okay, so powder coat is burnt for the first powder coat layer. So we're just going to take just a little chip brush, cheapy chip brush, and we're going to brush that stuff off. Cleanup on this is pretty easy. It doesn't really stain your hands or anything. I've already had it on my hands today. So just brush it off. Nice and easy, not putting too much pressure on it. And that'll give you a pretty clear picture of what you're working with. And so far, it has turned out pretty good. Everything is in the lines. I don't see any gaps. But I want to, before I burn the next layer, which I'm actually going to be burning the wood, get all that stuff off there. And that's actually looking pretty good right there. Be careful not to hit your laser, like I just did. Hopefully that doesn't mess it up. So now we're ready to actually etch into the wood our second layer, which is going to be our red layer of powder coat. So let's do that. Here we are. So we're back at this screen. We have already burnt this layer, so we're going to go up here to our cuts and layers, and we're going to deselect output. We're going to deselect show, and we're going to go to our red layer, and we're going to click show and output. So now this is going to be our next wood burn. So 85% power, 90 millimeters a second for our speed, and we will be using air assist. So with that, we're going to go to origin, and we're going to burn it. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I'm about 4 hours into this burn, and I noticed, well, actually more than 4 hours, I've noticed that part of the way through the first powder coat layer, that my perfectly flat piece of basswood that I originally put on there has started to curl up on the left and right edges. So you'll see in the video, I actually had to take some ceramic tile and put it on there to weigh it down, because I really didn't want my laser to get out of focus, and I want this project to turn out. So, I mean, I'm into it for hours, and this is like 3/4 of the way done. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna give up. If I F it up, I F it up. But we're going to see how it turns out. So stick around. I'm going to have to move the tiles around on the red coat of powder coat, just to. Hopefully I won't hit the laser and totally F up the whole thing. So yeah, I said a lot of cussing actual words off camera. So all right, let's see what happens. Okay. Like I was saying, you can see on the side of my basswood here, this is 2mm basswood. This was completely flat when I put it in. I've had this wood for a while. I keep stuff on top of all my thin woods to keep them flat. I live in Florida. I mean, wood is famous for warping here. But, I mean, you can see that right there is enough to throw my laser focus out of whack. So I had to put the tile on either side. So we're going to go ahead and put the red powder coat on here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I'm going to have to move some tiles around. I just have to make sure that I don't hit my laser. If I hit my laser and it gets out of whack, even like half a millimeter, it's going to throw the whole dang thing off. So, yeah, man, I want to cuss right now. I'm so peeved. So, here we go. Let's go ahead and grab our red powder coat. And we're just going to scoop some down here. Whew, that ought to be enough. Go over it. And I think that's pretty good. Now, let's go ahead and hop back into light burn, and we'll change our settings for the powder coat instead of a burn, and we'll go from there. And let's get this changed. So we're going to come up here. We're doing our red layer right here. So our burn for our wood was 85 millimeters. Or I'm sorry, 85% power at 90 millimeters a second. So now we're going to change that, since we're doing the powder coat, to just like we did the black. We're going to come here, we're going to double click, and we're going to go 20% max power. Our air assist is going to be off. Honestly, this switch, I don't know if it even makes a difference, but I just click it off just for the hell of it and hit OK. So now I'm still really worried about the board being warped and having to try to move those tiles. So, but it is what it is. I mean, we're going to deal with it. I am going to sweep just a little bit more of this red off. I got a little buildup right here. And I think that looks pretty good. So, we're going to go to Origin. And that is, I mean, almost, the lens, the protective cover is almost touching the wood right there. So we're definitely going to have to be holding that down with some tile or something. And let's go ahead and get started on it. Somewhere along the line, and I have the feeling it's when the laser hit the tiles, because I was trying to move the tiles to hold the damn board down. On the second row, it got off center. So now I've sent the laser home, and I'm going to go to the Origin. So go to Origin button. But before I do that, I'm going to add a little bit more red. I'm hoping it's salvageable at this point. The bottom row looks okay. The middle row, it got off center. Like I said, it hit the laser when I was putting some tiles on there to hold it down. This one's pissing me off. All right, so here you go. If you guys can see it from there. So the bottom one is okay. I mean, it's really dark. The black is showing up through the red. I don't think I burned it deep enough. I should have burned it deeper and then had a thicker layer of red powder coat. But if you can see up here on this next layer, on the next row, that it started to get a little bit off kilter. Yeah, back in the video, you'll see I was trying to set some tiles down over here, and the laser hit the tiles. So I don't know why it worked perfect up until that point, but I'm sure it's probably because I hit the tile. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to add some more powder coat, get a thicker layer on here. I'm going to go to origin, like I said, and we're just going to try it again. I mean, worst case scenario, I've wasted an entire freaking day doing this. But this is how we learn. We don't give up. We push through. And yeah, all that other BS. So, all right. So let me grab some powder coat and I will add some more to it. And we're going to try it again. This project has been doomed from the start. So, warped wood, laser get out of alignment because I put tiles in the way. Not much else could have gone wrong with this. So, what I'm going to do at this point is I am going to take my trusty Milwaukee battery powered vacuum, and I'm going to vacuum up all of this dust. I got some black mixed in with the red. Like I said, I have a ton of this. At this point, I'm not really worried. I just want to get these burnt out of the way, and we're going to do just a single. So just one ornament. That way, if I screw it up, it's only going to take like 20 minutes or so. So anyway, so let me vacuum this off. Alright, so looks like there might be one or two that may not be too bad. You see here, this is where it got off center after it hit the tile. So that really kind of screwed it up. But see if we can get it cleaned off really well. I mean, obviously none of these are sellable, but there'll be a reminder of how bad today was, I guess. So, okay. Last thing we're going to do is go into light burn and set up our cut layer, and let's get that started right now. All right, so cuts and layers. Go down here. We've already done our black image. We've done our red image twice. We're going to unselect that from output, unselect it from show. We're going to output our line, and we're going to show that. We will be doing this with air assist because we're going to be burning it. Air assist on. Now this is going to move too fast. I'm not going to be able to hold the wood down with tiles, so I'm going to try my best to kind of hold the wood down with my hands and not try and get in the way too much, just to keep the laser in focus as best possible. So we're going to go to origin, and we've got 2 passes, 8 millimeters a second, 100% power. Yep, that looks good. Okay, and then we'll start. Man, I have got to be honest with you, these are horrible. So take my painter's tape off. And let's see exactly how bad they truly are, because they are bad. So they fall right out, which is great, but you'll see where some of the red clumped because I had to put it on so thick after. So you see some red, you see some black, and then the whole thing got out of alignment. I mean, when you look at Lightburn, the image was centered on the ball. I'm sure it has to do with it hitting the tile, but yeah, every single one of them. I mean, there's not really one, even if it wasn't off-centered, that came out right. So between the board warping, the laser hitting the tile, it's I'm kindling. I can start a fire with them maybe. So anyway, let's get all these off. We'll get a new piece of wood put on here. We'll do one singular and see how it comes out. Stick around. Well, all said and done, we didn't do very well today. This was our original project today where we did the 12, and the design is off center. The red is very dull. So wasn't happy with that. We finally did get all 12 done. Had problem after problem. So went back, did one, and it turned out much better. But you can still, from where the laser burned the wood, and turned it black, you can still see that through the red. And I was having a heck of a time trying to figure out why. On the original one I did, which is very bright red, and I mean, you can't even see any discoloration in it. Between that and that, same speeds, same powder coat, same everything. So I started thinking about it, and I was looking, I'm like, that is two different types of wood, I think. This is the board that I cut the one out of that we did today after our 12. This is the type of basswood, and this is basswood. This is the type of basswood that I did the original one on. You can see that clearly there is a difference. This is a much stiffer basswood. Now they both came off of Amazon. I'm not sure. This is basswood and this is basswood. These are the same thickness. I mean, this is 3.5 millimeters. I mean, it's very stiff. This is 3.5 millimeters. And it bends very easily. I mean, you can, right? It's actually very, very soft. So I think that's where our problem lies. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go back to the drawing board. I'm gonna take a couple of days off from the laser at this point. I'm so frustrated with how this whole project has turned out. I'm just gonna take a couple days off, gather my thoughts. I'll come back and I'm gonna do another one, and I'll put my results of that in another video. I'm not gonna do a whole nother powder coat video, but it will be the same speeds, it will be the same power. It's just gonna be on this basswood instead of this real stiff stuff. So thank you guys for watching. Sorry, there's a couple of editing glitches in there. I'm actually re-recording this. Having some problems with my editing software and my laptop. We run out of memory, so I mean, just another issue on top of, you know, the unsuccessful burn. So I look forward to doing the next project with you guys, and my name is Ryan. I'm the Laser Noob. Thanks for watching.